With 500,000 players active on open beta and nearly 750,000 on launch, Battlefield 6 managed to smash quite a few of their own records. Not to mention Call of Duty Black Ops 7, who tried to get ahead of Battlefield with their open beta and failing to even reach 1/5 of the players. It was looking like Battlefield, after the disastrous 2042, is finally back. And yeah, it kinda is. And literally on the day when I was editing this, they released this abomination. Jesus. But okay, not everything is sunshine and exploded guts littering or Merry Daisy field. The success of Battlefield 6 is still something to be celebrated. And this is the success of Battlefield 6. Now, after going over the game, and its gameplay, and the reasons why it blew up, and why I keep on playing it 70 plus hours later, well, aside from the really bad grind masquerading as challenges, just to unlock the basic functionality of the classes, there's a lot of important things that make Battlefield 6 a...
At launch, it's a 6 out of 10. Yes, it is. It is an above average game.
And that's completely fair. Alright, so let's start off with the obvious game journalist phrase of, oh, it's returned to form. Oh, God, I hate that phrase. And of course, similarly...
Yes, we're back, mostly. Well, sort of back. We're in a back direction.
With the game's release, quite a few videos on YouTube immediately spouted that title, and boy do they feel quite misleading. Yet, the game is good. Good in a bunch of different ways that actually matter and should not be overlooked. Because I believe these stupid slogans do disservice to the actual good parts. So right off the bat, with Battlefield 6, developers have pulled back from the wild and annoying experimentation that was 2042, as well as other game series entries. See, in big part thanks to Call of Duty's success, it seemed like DICE, or as they call them now, Battlefield Studios, saw the trend shifting and thought that they needed to make their gameplay more spastic and twitchy, with combat sprinting and faster movement. So much that it culminated in 2042's abysmal launch and nearly universally despised mechanics. Well, okay, there were a couple of interesting ideas, but regardless, seemingly learning from their hard-earned lesson, Battlefield 6 is simply giving us a standard Battlefield gameplay with 4 original Division classes and roles to focus on playing objectives and maintaining team play. Even with what TheYamiks would call standard, basic, baseline game design, the game succeeded. Good game design, after all, is good game design. It's fun, it works, and it's not offensive, or stands in your way at any point. Even for someone like me who's not played that much Battlefield in the first place, it's a solid game. And Battlefield 6 succeeded simply because it didn't wildly experiment. What an epiphany! Giving fans what they want in the first place? That's too much, no! And then comes out 2042. Oh god, now reading all of this back, I cannot believe that this is something we have to praise a franchise for. But again, thanks to 2042's rock bottom expectations, I guess we all are feeling generous. Now, obviously, it's not like Battlefield 6 didn't iterate or try something a little bit new. More grinding, broken medbags. Oh, wait, those were bad things. Unlimited class weapon selection and uselessness of any class that is not support. Especially uselessness of assault are a bit annoying. But even setting those little design issues aside, I believe that Battlefield 6 succeeded not only due to their standard game design just being back, that just works, but more importantly, the solid gameplay overall. And that's the thing, everything works. Well, except for the fucking medbags! It's solid gameplay. Guns feel okay. Recoil, even though a bit light, it's still not as light as 2042, where you literally could use full auto to burst kill anyone at 200 meters away, and every gun type has its own unique quirks that you can feel. Every class has a distinct usefulness, well, with the exception of assault, but still, it's all nothing special. And yeah, I know, it's pretty funny to put nothing special as one of the good aspects, but after a decade of Call of Duty's spastastic bullshit movement, or Battlefield's wild experimentation of getting curb stomped and calling it a plastic surgery, this solid gameplay of nothing special, it just works, guns shoot okay, movement is nice, there's no massive fuck-ups, is almost like a fresh air to the genre, polluted with gimmicks, microtransactions, ruined art styles, and broken gameplay. Still, the elephant in the room for Battlefield 6 is obvious. If there was a similar but more fun FPS game out there, even if it had more bugs, I don't think Battlefield would have succeeded as much today. Thanks to Call of Duty for lowering our collective expectation for high production AAA military shooter, I guess. Yay! Okay, but now comes the best part. Any artist or creative will know. Worst thing you can do is make something boring. See, when you make something bad, for example a bad game, you'll hate it and never play it again. Or at least once in a while boot it up and beat the dead horse and laugh at it at most. But you'll still remember it regardless. Well, of course, a good game you'll both play and enjoy no matter the age. However, a boring one, well, even if it is okay, you'll most likely forget eventually. So if the public mostly agrees the Battlefield 6 is an okay game, what makes it still stand out so much? And since I can only speak for myself, well, for me it was certainly the launch. Now, despite smaller bugs here and there, like the fucking med bag, both open beta and launch was very stable, to a point that I dare to call it one of the better refined, high-budget game releases to date. Game crashes, netcode issues, massive game fuck-ups, you barely ever see people having them, let alone experiencing yourself. I seriously was impressed. It was almost like the very opposite of 2042's launch. Thanks to this QA testing and refining the gameplay, even if there seemed to be rather lacking content in it, as soon as you booted up Battlefield, you could just focus on playing and experiencing the gameplay itself, rather than the technical issues that are so common in basically every AAA game. Honestly, it's kind of funny that by simply doing your job and making a decent game that works without insulting the customer, it's become a good game and a success story in
modern gaming.
Yeah, it does feel like our expectations of premium AAA games have been dropped on their face in the last 10 years. However, the last reason I think is the most important one. One that pushes Battlefield 6 from a decent, well-made product into a good game category. And why it's garnered such a near unchallenged following from its peers. Yes, the performance is the main thing I, the hypercritical Latvian, tend to be hung up on so much, especially for these high-budget titles. I mean, seriously, how can these multi-tens of millions of dollars productions be released year on year every single time and be so fucking broken, so fucked that it's easier to find bug montages on YouTube than the actual praise for these modern productions? And, well, sure, there are exceptions, like for example the Call of Duty developer teams doing their respectable jobs, if not one of the best ones, to make their engine and their games run smoothly as possible. However, when it comes to Battlefield, even in comparison to Call of Duty's current engine, Battlefield 6 and DICE's Frostbite engine can both look as good as it does and run in 4K 60 FPS on max settings, no less, for a top-end rig. Well, how do I know? Well, outside of my own top-end rig, performance benchmark reports from someone like Hardware Unboxed and other sources tell the same story. The best thing is that you don't need to abuse the stupid temporal bullshit smearing, nor upscalers, let alone frame gen, just to see the titular 60 FPS. And here Battlefield 6 shows that you can do it on modern hardware, and that should be our standard expectation, not some measly acceptance for whatever the fuck Unreal 5 games keep producing. But that's a whole different story. And if there is one thing I love to see from Battlefield, it's this. You can create a modern game, run 40k, 60 FPS on max settings no less. And not being able to create such a quality experience should be a stain of shame on any studio or publisher who dare to even dream of AAA status. But yeah, like I said, no, Battlefield 6 is not free from issues. I mean, the fucking obvious copy-pasta from Call of Duty's Warzone, but from Wish.com is a great example. Yep, we know where the resources went now, huh? And yeah, even that said, generally, it's an okay game. A solid experience that simply does not insult your intelligence or wallet. Of course, granted, the single-player campaign is utter shit and insult to your brain cells, while Battle Royale is a pathetic trend-chasing one-to-one copy-paste of Call of Duty. So yeah, a deserved 6 out of 10 that Angry Joe and so many others gave it. Still, as a tech nerd and an FPS fan, I can just simply play a solid shooter game with modern graphics and never worry about the frame rate. This is the impact of performance and solid gameplay. Even though you don't notice it, it enables you to just play a good goddamn video game. And that's the success of Battlefield 6. An okay game.